Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so one of the things that happens to empaths or just nice people is your voice gets shut down. Now, this is something that started at a young age, continued. It would be a teacher here, a coach there, a friend here, a friend there, an acquaintance here, acquaintance there, family member here, family member there. It's not like it was done by one person. This has been a consistent effort. And we have reached a real peak of this happening. It's especially in the last 4 years because of what went on, about all the lockdowns and shutdowns. In the beginning, there were medical doctors who were saying, no, that's actually not what's going on. And they would show you graphs and charts and give you statistical facts and numbers. And even tissue samples and images and under the microscope. And next thing you know, YouTube was deleting their channels. And you're like, well, wait a minute, what's going on? So Twitter and YouTube were saying, oh, well, these people are, they were calling them internet doctors. So one of the doctors was the head doctor for the CV virus, the quarantine station in the hospital where they brought the people in and evaluated them. So he was the head doctor that was assigned to that. That was his specialty. Yeah, viruses. And he got his doctorate degree from Harvard. So here he is, the head physician, has his doctorate degree from Harvard. He's been at this, it was Syracuse University for, I think, 12 years or 13 years. And suddenly the geniuses at the social media sites are like, oh, he's just an internet doctor. He's not real. If that guy's not a real doctor, then who is? So then there was another doctor who got his doctorate degree from Stanford, and he was also specialist in viruses, etc. And they deleted his videos and eventually shut his channel down, saying, hey, you can't say that. And it's like, but it's the truth. This is actual medical fact. Well, they didn't want to hear that. And then he got labeled as an internet doctor. So you got to understand, these are doctors, and these weren't the only two. There's quite a few other than this, and these people graduated from Stanford and Harvard and like major medical universities, and they were heads of their departments, and they'd been there for 10 years or more, and now they're suddenly been reduced down or devalued down. Oh, narcissist abuse. Devalued down to you're just an internet doctor. So there has been a tremendous effort to shut your voice down ever since you were a child. And I'm not talking about this recent thing that happened 3 or 4 years ago. This was just the epitome, the peak of it. There are just some people that walk around walking truth. I mean, they don't even have okay. Ben said this to me one day. He said, you know the reason why people don't like you, Mike? I'm like, no, why is that? He goes, because you can see through their lies. I'm like, what? I said, I've never called anybody on a lie. I go, when have you seen it? He goes, well, no. He goes, that's just it. You don't even have to say anything. I'm like, what? He goes, dude, it's like you're this light. Like you can just see through someone when they're lying to you and they know it. And so then this drug dealer, this homeless drug dealer guy, had walked behind me. And he was, he wasn't dressed nice. He's kind of like, he's leaning, it's weird. He's leaning away and looking, like kind of leaning down and away and looking up at me. And he's walking behind me. I kind of looked over right shoulder, left shoulder, like, shit, is he going to do something? And so then he goes, see, look at that guy. See how he's looking at you? I said, yes, you're right. And I always take my advice from homeless drug dealers. Oh my God. So I was like, really, dude? So you're going to take your morals from a homeless drug dealer? Like that's your value. That's your, I can't find the word, but that's the person you're going to look up to for guidance in life? Okay. Well, good luck with that. And he did kind of ponder it. He kind of like, yeah, I guess you're right, huh? I'm like, yeah. So he was so worried about what these people thought about him. And he's like, dude, he goes, so then what happened was like 2 seconds, 3 seconds go by after this. A car drives by, and that guy slows down. He literally sticks his head out the window, and Benedict goes, look at this dude right now. I turn around, I'm like, yeah, so what am I supposed to do about it? Like, what do you want me to cuss him out or something? And he goes, no. He goes, Mike, it's like you're this light and everyone can see it. It's like, and it doesn't make them feel comfortable. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, dude. It's not like there's a light switch where I can turn it off or on. I go, this is just the way I am. Alright, so here's the deal. A lot of you, your voice has been shut down. Now, essentially, that's what Benedict was trying to do. He was trying to shut me down. Because a lot of people in general don't feel comfortable around honesty. It's like Benedict said, he goes, you don't even have to say anything to them. I go, and not only that, but I don't even have to be looking at them. They both were behind me. And the only reason I saw them was because Benedict pointed them out. If I didn't see him, I wouldn't even, or if he didn't point them out, I never even would have noticed. So essentially what has been happening is these things we call narcissists and this whole group thing, they're, what do they call them? Like they're cults, and there's another word for it. They're covens, etc. So all these people have been shutting down the truth, and when they see someone who speaks the truth, and again, what you have to understand is you don't actually have to actually speak. You could just be someone like they can see it in you, even when you're a little child. Like when I was a little infant, I remember my mom being very uncomfortable around me because I could see through her bullshit. I remember just looking at her like she's lying. I was a little kid. So essentially you're very wide open neurologically, meaning your left and right brain. So you're it's like a window that's being wide open and you can see all. And they don't like that. So for a very long time, I'm talking way back when, way before you were born, your parents or grandparents, this has been going on the planet for a long time. So what's going on right now is there is a surge of shutting truth down. But I believe we broke through that barrier about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. We just started, waking up more and more of us. We're little seedlings and we're popping up and we're popping open. And it's happening all over the world. So like, I'm not the only one in my town that has this big light now. There's other people. So what happens is the people that want to open up again, that are truthful, that have been shut down, you walk into that grocery store and boom, all of a sudden, like when it was just you and that's the only person they saw their whole life, they're like, yeah, I'm not opening up. But when it's you and then maybe a friend you walk in, or maybe there's a customer that walked in an hour before, and then the day before that there was two, and then the day before that there was one. So now all of a sudden they're going, whoa, like now on Main Street, Mike Kollin is not the only one who's this open light. Now there's other lights here and there, and we're seeing each other, and those people are starting to recognize, God, look how confident, they're not backing down. And now they're starting to open up. So here's what this video is about, is a lot of you, your voice has been shut down, and okay, here's the belief that you have. You were taught, conditioned, brainwashed into believing that no one's going to believe you. So in the past when you spoke up for yourself, they played a game, and probably it was your family, so your mother and your brothers and sisters against you, or it could be your friends. And like this happened to me in school when I was a little kid. I'm not gonna go into it. Really briefly, like we were playing kickball, and I was the new kid in school. We had moved to Wisconsin, and they did not like me at all. I was the new kid. I was weird. I was from a different state. And so they would throw the ball, and they would go flying in front of me about 4 or 5 feet. And they're like, you're out. I'm like, what do you mean I'm out? I go, it didn't come close to me. No, you're out. It tipped your jacket. I'm like, no, it didn't. Oh, yeah, it did. And so they would just completely gaslight. And it was a form of gaslighting. You got these little kids doing this. Then the adult there is saying, oh, yeah, it hit you. And you're like, what are you talking about? It didn't hit the guy in first base who was supposed to catch it. I go, it was too far away from him, too. So they've been doing this to your whole life in many different ways. So most of us, we would just keep our mouth shut when somebody would accuse us of something that we didn't do, that they knew we didn't do, because we believed, because most of the time people would know, you're a liar, you're lying, you're in trouble. So no matter what we did, it was like they didn't want to hear us. It's not even that they didn't want to hear us. They just wanted to punish us for nothing, something that they made up. And so over years and years of this, you got conditioned to believe that your voice wasn't going to be heard. So even now as an adult, when you do finally speak up, you do it with hesitancy. You do it with uncertainty. And because of that, it doesn't come across as congruent. So now other adults are like, yeah, you're not really sounding too certain here, man. So energetically and also through body language and tonality, what happens is you're thinking they're never going to believe me, and that's what you end up expressing, and therefore they don't. It's an unconscious thing. So if you believe something on an unconscious level, and especially if in your head, like, yeah, no one ever believes me, or they're not going to believe me, then that's what you're going to communicate indirectly, non-verbally. So one of the things my former energy healer from this is like 15 plus years ago, was like, Michael, you've got to stand up for yourself. So the only time I could really stand up for myself was inside the parameters of a sport. There's a ring, there's a football field, there's lines, there's rules, there's everything, regulations, there's a referee right there, there's cameras. So within those parameters, I could kick ass. Because it was clear. It was literally black and white. Okay, it's either I broke the rule or I didn't. Either I played by the rules or I didn't. And you could see it because it's on video. So then, you have to go into the adult world eventually, but I couldn't stand up for myself socially. Like, that was my weakest area. Now it's my strongest area. So my energy healer told me, she goes, Michael, next time someone yells at you for no reason at all, yell back at them. Tell them to F off. And I was like, whoa, like, okay. And of course, I didn't. I was too afraid. So I would go to her kind of not crying, but like licking my wounds and poor me. And she's like, God damn it, Michael, you've got to stand up to those people. So if it happened at a store, she's like, you got to go back to the store. You need to tell them off. I'm like, I can't do that. Michael, you have to. Next thing you know, you need to go to the head manager, not the assistant manager, not the night manager. You need to go to the head manager. And then when another thing happens, she's, Michael, you need to call the cops right now. Right now. Hang up the phone, call 911, get the cops there. You need to tell them what happened. So she kind of rode my ass, and I was starting to do it, but not really fully and congruently. But it was a start, and you can start anywhere. Okay, now one thing I want to say, do not do this at your job at the very beginning unless you're really comfortable with it. Do it, with people at the grocery store, with strangers, where it's not going to be a big deal and you could walk away. Whereas your job, that's how you pay your rent and stuff, or your mortgage, or whatever. Okay, so I don't recommend starting there. I recommend learning this in other areas and developing it first. So I was at a stop sign. Where I live, they act like it's New York City. It's not. This city is about 45,000 people. And there's no traffic except for maybe the last 3 blocks to the freeway. And it's really not traffic. You're just at a stoplight waiting. So it's not like you're stuck in a green light and you can't go. It's never like that. That may have happened one time when there was an accident or something. So that just doesn't happen. So people honk their horn. Oh, come on, let's go. And I remember, like, I kind of got conditioned after about 2 years of living here. Like, hey, like, look at the light, clutch in, foot on the gas pedal, boom, 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 light hits green, whoa, 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 and I'm going. I'm in a stick shift, and I'm just through the, and the next thing, that guy's honking behind me. And I'm thinking, there's no fucking way this guy's honking at me. I'm already through the intersection. I look in my rearview mirror, and he's got his hand laid down. He didn't even start leaving yet. And what it was he was looking up at the light, waiting for it to turn green, and he honked the horn when it turned green, not even realizing I had actually left about a split second before it actually turned green, because I saw the other light turn red. I waited, and boom, I started before the light even turned green. This is Indianapolis 500. This is a race, man. You got to go. So over the years, I had been honked at and screamed at and flipped off and just, go, go. And I'm like, dude, like, fuck, it just turned green. Like, it's like, they act like you've been sitting there for 30 seconds when you hadn't even been sitting there for a quarter of a second. So not only am I all the way through the intersection, I'm already about 3 or 4 car lengths up, and the next light's red, so I had to stop behind that car, and I'm looking in my rearview mirror like, is this guy really honking at me? I'm thinking he's got to be honking at something else, but there was nothing else. He pulls up behind me because the cars are stopped. The light in front of us is red, and he's honking on his horn. He's flipped me off. You motherfucker, you gotta go. And I was like, fuck it. I went Captain Insano. I went crazy. Now I'm in a little sports car somewhere. My rearview window, I think, was already rolled down. My driver's side window was down, and I'm flailing my arms out the window, and I'm not kidding, and making my head like bobble around, and I literally, I was making that noise as loud as I could to make as much tension as I could, because I was like, I don't give a shit if people think I'm nuts. And I'm like, oh, we're all crazy, oh, green light go, oh my god, and I said, and I'm screaming, oh, panic attack, and I'm screaming all this insane shit, and the guy just froze, and I'm looking at my rearview mirror like, well, wait, why isn't he yelling at me? Because I really thought if I stood up for myself, they're just going to yell even louder, and the dude just completely shut down. One thing I want to emphasize is I was screaming at the top of my lungs, and I was flailing about like a crazy psycho. And I mean, my head, my arms, my body, and I was just going all in, because I just was like, fuck it. I didn't care. And I found something. I found my power. Because I didn't give a flying shit what anyone thought about me, that dude was like, oh yeah, I can't fuck with this person. See, they can only fuck with people like, oh my god, what are people going to think about me? If you literally like, fuck it. I'm sorry for cussing so much, but I'm really trying to get this message across, because it will empower you. So instead of fighting against it, it's like, go with it. Go with the flow 100%. So I thought it was really odd. Like, well, wait a minute. Why isn't he yelling back? So I drove off thinking, okay, that's weird, because I was totally expecting this guy to completely get louder and yell even more, and he just like, oh shit. Not only that, but he tucked tail, his shoulders kind of shrunk in, he kind of lowered his head like, oh shit, and he was kind of like looking around like, fuck, everyone's looking at me, because I was so congruent. I didn't hold back. The brakes were off, and the gas pedal was fully on. I did not care. Psycho coaching available. Tell you something, it actually works. So I drove off thinking, okay, well that was a little weird, because I thought, yeah, it's probably not the way most people would act. I figured they would have yelled and screamed back, right? So I told my energy healer, and she's like, right on, good job. And so I had another complaint about a month or two later, and she's, Michael, yell at them, stand up for yourself, tell them to F off, do something. So, I don't know, a little later, I don't know, it could have been 6 months later, but it was definitely a month or more later, is I was pulling into the Safeway parking lot as a grocery store, and I pulled in from the street, and I went past the first row of cars because it was packed. I went to the second row, started turning left, and about 7 or 8 cars up was a lady pulling out, and I noticed she wasn't looking, so I thought, I'm just going to stop here for 2 reasons. Number one, this is Marin County, the entitled, entitlement capital of the world, where it's always someone else's fault. It's never their responsibility. You are to blame for everything. So I thought, no, I'm not going to give her an opportunity to make some bullshit up and try to blame me, because she's not looking. She didn't look left. She didn't look right. She didn't even look in her rearview mirror. She just pulled straight out without looking at all. Mind you, I'm literally 6 or 7 car spaces away, and I'm completely at a dead stop. I'm not moving, and I had been sitting there watching her back out slowly for about 3 or 4 seconds at a complete stop the whole time. So she pulls out and she starts looking around, and then she spots me and she's like, oh, you gotta slow down, you're going too fast. And she's screaming at me. I'm like, fuck this. And I leaned my head out the window. I'm not even fucking moving. What the fuck are you talking about? I've been sitting here for 3 seconds waiting for you to pull out. I'm 7 car lengths away from you. And I'm just screaming facts. And everyone in the parking lot looked at me and then immediately looked at her because I was congruent. I wasn't holding back, and that is the key. I wasn't thinking, oh God, no one's going to believe me. I didn't care. I didn't care because it's not like thinking that somehow magically made people be nice to me over the last 45 years before that. It never happened. So the point being is I just stopped caring because no one ever took my side. I was always in the wrong even when I wasn't. So I flip out on this lady. I take my foot off the brake. I mean inside emotionally, verbally, and volume-wise. And I just screamed the truth at her. And everyone looked at her like, yeah, he's telling me. And she's like, oh shit. And here's the thing that flipped me out. She completely shut down. She backed out quietly and she pulled away quietly. And she didn't yell. She didn't flip me off. I was like, okay, this is getting very interesting. So from that point on, I just, like, whenever somebody messed with me, I would just let them have it and just walk away. Like, F you, man. And man, did it work. So the key is you just get pushed so far, and that generally is what has to happen to most people, to where you're just like, I don't care if you think I'm wrong. I don't care what you think. I'm right. I know I'm right, and this is my truth, and I'm going to effing scream at you for messing with me. Period. End of sentence. So here's the really weird thing that began to happen. All of a sudden, less and less people started messing with me. There was a huge dynamic shift. Instead of walking around like Pigpen, like a couple of videos back, I talked about how that guy walked by me on the sidewalk and he was looking down, looking up and scared. Oh my God. And all of a sudden I got caught up in his energy and because I was in a really good mood. Next thing you know, I'm wanting to scream at this kid. And what kid? He was like 26. I was about 34. But it was just like, whoa, what the hell? Like, we literally get caught up in other people's energy. And that's what happens when you walk around thinking, oh, like they're not going to listen to me. Or yeah, with that kind of a thought and attitude, yeah, you're right. What you think's going to happen is exactly right. So when you finally unleash on someone without any hesitation or no breaks, it comes across as it is an alignment, it is congruent, and it is solid. It is grounded, and this is the way it is. And all of a sudden, people are like, oh yeah, he's telling the truth. I have to tell you, because I was developing this ability to stand up for myself, like very congruently and very strong, and because I learned to spend time alone, when I ran into that called the ultimate narcissist, the narcopath, like narcissistic psychopath, it was what saved me, because I was like, I don't care what you think, and that was something he wasn't used to. He's like, I remember one day going, oh, okay. Like, it was confusing to him, like, because everyone cares about what he thinks. I didn't give a shit. The other one was, I don't need you. I don't need you in my life. I have no problem, like, saying goodbye. And it was those two damn things that saved me. After a bad breakup, my energy healer said, Michael, you need to be single for a long time. Like, well, what do you mean? She goes, well, how long were we together? I said, about 8 years. She goes, well, you need to be single for 4 years. She goes, you can't date until you completely disconnect from this person energetically, emotionally, mentally, etc. I'm like, what are you talking about? 4 years? Because I'd never been single for 4 years in my life. I'd always had a girlfriend. So of course I didn't listen. I started dating this cute Asian girl right away. Now mind you, I was only about 30. Actually, I was 31 years old. She was like 28, 29. And so it went to hell really fast. Like, she did some things that hurt me, and I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, it hurt bad. And I kind of didn't understand, like, why does this hurt so bad? And my energy healer goes, Michael, because you haven't even healed the wounds from your last relationship. That's what's hurting. So she goes, now do you see why you need to be like single for a long time? You need to reconnect with yourself so you don't need someone to love you. See, when you have open wounds or like your energy fields, your chakras, like they're empty, your heart, and you feel this emptiness, when you meet someone, what happens is their energy goes inside your solar plexus, your heart area, your stomach, and now you feel whole and complete, and you believe, oh, finally, I've met the one. No, you've met someone that doesn't respect boundaries. See, unconsciously, most people suck at boundaries, and so their energy goes into other people's holes. You have literal holes in your energy field, and when they fill them up, all of a sudden you feel like, oh my God, this is amazing. I feel great. I feel complete, but you're not complete with your energy. It's their energy, and it's a false completion. So when they pull away, all that pain's going to come right back. Because when they pull the energy out, you're back to being empty, and now the wound is still there and it never healed. So she said, now do you understand why? I was like, okay. And at this point, I did not want to fucking date. Excuse my language, but I was like, not me. It's not going to screw it. Because I had nothing but heartaches. So I said, and then she goes, well, you need to do it for, I'm like, 4 years? She goes, all right, I tell you what, do it for 3. I'm like, there's no way. She goes, all right, do it for 2 years. I'm like, no way, because I couldn't imagine being single for 2 years. She goes, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. You do it for 1 year, 365 days, and you don't cheat on it. And she goes, and I'll keep working with you. Otherwise, you're going to have to find someone else. So I thought, you know what? Okay, because at that point, I really didn't want to date. I did not want to deal with this at all. I mean, dealing with another person who might be messed up and, whatever. And I didn't want to go through the pain of heartbreak again. The best thing in the world happened. I started going to movies alone. That's what she said. She goes, you do your work, you go home, and if you're in emotional pain, you curl up on the couch, you curl up in your bed, and you need to be with your own pain. And what you're doing is you're distracting yourself with dating, with movies, with whatever, or you're letting them love that part of you. You need to start loving your own parts. You need to connect with your parts, because your parts are like little children that need to connect with you, not a stranger. They're your children. Don't push these little parts, these little children, off to total strangers that you just met 2 or 3 months ago. That's kind of weird. I got so comfortable because I used to be so ashamed of going out in public, even just having lunch, from work, and I'm alone, no one's with me. I used to be so uncomfortable. I feel embarrassed and ashamed. What if I see someone who knows me and all that bullshit? But man, I just would do it. I even started going to movies alone. I went to clubs alone. I actually didn't go to clubs that first year, but after that I did. And I just started living life. I would go for hikes. I would go to the beach. I was just doing everything on my own. And I didn't really quite realize what it was, but all of a sudden I became self-sufficient. I didn't need someone to go live life with. I could live my own life on my own and feel great. So that first year turned into 2 years. And then it turned into 3 years. I wasn't dating. I wasn't exchanging numbers. I wasn't doing anything. In fact, I don't think I started going to clubs until after about 4 years later. And something changed. When I finally started dating, it was like the first girl was disrespectful. We went to dinner and I was like, do you always talk to guys like that? She was like, what? I'm like, well, like that. And she just kind of shrugged, like, whatever. And I said, no, not whatever. Now, mind you, this is the first time I'd ever spoken up for myself. Okay, I had never really, especially on a date. I was like, she goes, whatever. I go, no, not whatever. I go, if you talk to me that way again, I'm going to leave. And she goes, oh, okay, whatever. And she's looking at the menu. And so I was like, oh, I'm done. She's not getting it. So I think I actually waited for her to say some negative smartass remark to me. And I didn't even say it. I just got up, grabbed my coat, and I walked out. Now, she thought I went to the bathroom because you have to walk past the bathrooms to get to the front door. And I was in my car. I was all the way home. It was only about like a 12-minute drive. And the phone rings. I'm like, hello? She goes, are you still in the bathroom? I go, I'm home. She goes, what? I said, I told you that if you smarted off to me again like that again, I was going to get up and leave. I go, I wasn't joking. And she just got quiet. I just hung up the damn phone. I did not give a shit. And I got to tell you something. It felt really good inside my solar plexus to finally protect my inner self, to just no, I'm not putting up with this. And at the time I thought, well, that's really weird. God, I'd never been on a date like that before. Well, actually I had. I just didn't realize I never stood up for myself and did the whole empath thing. Oh, they don't really mean it. All that bullshit. Or I'll get them to be nice to me. And it's at this point, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. But I didn't quite realize what happened. I just thought that was just a really rude person. So then I went on a date with someone else, maybe a month or two later. I don't remember. Same restaurant, same thing. And I'm like, I can't believe it's happening again. I said, hey, Seriously, I'm not joking. If you talk to me like that again, I'm going to just get up and leave. Like, if you can't be respectful, there's no reason for us to even talk anymore. She just laughed, and I'm like, oh, she's definitely not getting this. And so she started being a punk or negative or whatever you want to call it. And I grabbed my coat and left. And she called me about 4 minutes later, and I'm on the highway. She goes, "Where are you?" I go, "I'm in my car." She goes, "No, you're not." So I rolled down the window and held my phone out the window. I go, "Now do you believe me?" She goes, "Well, where are you going?" I go, "I told you if you were going to be disrespectful, I was going to leave." So I was definitely on my journey for being self-sufficient. Don't need someone to make me feel good. Didn't have to appease someone to get them to be nice. I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. So that was the beginning journey of me getting to the point to where I could bump into this nightmare narcissist and be like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. I'm done. Message of the story: stand up for yourself. Walk away from people that are jerks. Be kind. Respect yourself by getting up and walking away from people who are not respectful of you. Period. End of sentence. No reason, no excuses. Take an argument and debate class. Just do it for a short period of time. Just get an idea. Buy a book on sales. Just buy a basic book on sales, okay? Just read it. Even if you're not in sales. And one thing that they usually should say in the first chapter, everybody needs to learn how to sell themselves. Take an argument and debate class in college. Take speech 1. There's a lady that I would hope a lot of you have heard of. Her name is Rebecca Zung. She's Asian. She's a former lawyer. I think she's still a lawyer. And she's had to deal with a lot of narcissists. Now, she gives away, I believe it's a free book or free booklet on how to negotiate with narcissists. And also, she has, I believe it's a free class now, at least an intro class, on how to, I think it was like out-argue or out-negotiate narcissists. Alright, so it's Rebecca Zung, REBECCA-ZUNG, and the video that I'm looking at now is Inside the Narcissist Brain, Shocking Science Reveals All. She really advertises her free course in this, and I think a free booklet also. The first sentence says, "Are you ready to dominate narcissist and take your back in any conversation?" See, I think if you start just dabbling in this stuff, you'll start learning things like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. And that's the thing, is there's a lot of things that I've learned in NLP that I'm trying to teach you on this channel for free, or I am teaching you for free. But there's things that you can learn, but you have to kind of dive in and jump in. Like, she's offering free stuff. Take the free stuff and learn from it. You'll be surprised, like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Or simple strategies or simple techniques. I mean, they're all there, and they're some of them are free to learn, and they, like my channel, it's all free. And Rebecca has, I think it's a booklet and also a free intro course on basically how to dominate the narcissist and take back your conversation. You have to take the steps. You gotta start somewhere. Start absorbing information. Start reading. Start learning. Get on it, and your life will change. I promise you. It's not going to be overnight. I'm not saying that. But get started. You'll be surprised how soon things start to turn around and how life becomes fun again. I tell you what, I'm actually thinking of downloading her free book and then taking that course. And if she has a course in person, I might actually go and attend that. So that's just a thought that's coming up for me right now. So who knows, maybe one or two of us, we can all, if she does an in-person course, I'm not sure if she does, but who knows, maybe one or two of us can go do that. And then when she asks us, well, where did you guys come from? We could say, oh, we came from the Church of Awesome. She'll probably laugh and grin. Start speaking up for yourself, okay? You don't necessarily have to go berserkers, but just even calmly, just look at someone in the eye. Here's the other thing. When your energy shifts and you take your foot off the brake, you don't think, oh, they're not going to listen to me. Like when you just unleash and you're just congruent, you do that a couple times and also think, wait a minute, okay, this feels a lot better. your energy field shifts. Because there's one thing that I began to notice after a while, 12 months or however long it took. People don't mess with me before. It's because I actually had a girl walk up to me, young lady in her 20s, and she goes, "You don't put up with shit, do you?" And I'm like, and I looked at her and I was like, "Nope, I don't." And I did not give a shit if she's like, "Oh, you're intimidating." I don't give a shit. But she actually liked it, and she smiled, and I said, "Yeah, but I don't do it like an aggressive way. I'm just a really nice guy." She goes, "Yeah, you are, but you can tell there's something in the way you walk or in your eyes. There's something that's like, that don't fuck with this guy." It's not even a physical thing, like a big muscular mean, like that look. It's like, no, it's not even. It's just a calmness. There's this centeredness, this groundedness, this sense of like, I think what it is, like people start to realize like, oh, he's congruent. He doesn't hold back. He doesn't have a break. The purpose for sharing that with you is not to, oh, look at me. It's because I'm trying to say, like, look, if you start standing up for yourself, you're going to get to a point where people look at you and go, the minute they meet you, like, oh yeah, I can't push this person around. Like they'll sense it. And the thing is, you could be happy and smiling in a good mood. They're just like, oh yeah, like there's just, your energy becomes more solid. So overall, after a period of time, people, they just don't mess with you. And the other thing is, like, you just look at people. You could have kind of a grin or smile on your face, just looking right at them. It's like this open, dead stare that I have, and I get it from these internal awareness techniques. It makes you really stalled, and they look like, oh yeah, I don't want to go there, because you're essentially looking at them like, oh, I'm willing to go there, 100%, no breaks. Hey, this is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. I hope you like this video. If you do, please click subscribe, click the all bell, click the like button, make a comment, and if you want, go ahead and make a donation. There is a donation PayPal link right there in the description box. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.